All right, good morning, guys. How we all doing? Good morning or good evening, Slack. How you doing, Kevin? Afi, thank you for coming on the live. Just Josh and Yo White, good morning. All right, guys, so we got a New York session live with a bit of manipulation happening. Obviously, there is some key resistance being met. We looked at a London long. It did not hit our stop loss. We broke out. And one of the reasons that we're not necessarily pumping to the moon right now is because we're hitting that key resistance, right? So the market is trying to break out. The bulls are trying to essentially break out, but you have this macro resistance that we keep on hitting over and over and over again. And essentially what is happening is you're hitting it and then you're dropping. You're hitting it and you're dropping. You're hitting it and you're dropping. So here you can kind of see that we are moving up on the 1 hour time frame and we are completely oversold. I mean, we're moving up, but we're overbought. Well, we're oversold, but we're overbought. 15 is overbought. 5 minute is oversold. 1 minute is oversold. 4 hour is moving up for another 2 hours here, roughly 1 hour and 48 minutes. So you have a 4 hour moving up for 1 hour and 48 minutes here, guys. And you can see Bitcoin is trying to break out, but it hasn't yet. Now, if you look at the 30 minute cuts into the MACD on the 1 hour time frame. You can see the 30 minute is crossed. You can see the 15 minute is above and separated as well. You can also see the 1 hour is about to cross. So the question is, are we going to break out? Or are we just going to keep on ranging here? Now the 4 hour is dropping. Okay. 4 hour time frame is dropping, but it is going back up. So essentially now you're waiting for that 5 minute to become oversold and either push back up to the top about 73 or not 73, 70, 71.1. If we look at our liquidity gaps here on Bitcoin, we can see we hit a high right here, but we never actually even touched the previous high. So we hit this high right here. We have a fair value gap, but we never actually hit 71.5. And now essentially what you're doing right here in the 1 minute and the 5 minute is you're creating a little bit of a rounded bottom. Now earlier, you guys could see that Bitcoin completely dumped all the way down to 68.9. Now that is a major area, guys. 68.9. The reason that's a major area is because this was really the last liquidity area here for the market to reverse. We actually had a liquidity zone right here at about 68.7 and we never even hit it. So we came back up. So if we look at our liquidity gaps, or if we look at our Fibonacci here, Stephen, good morning. Glasshopper, good morning. APG, just Josh and you, appreciate you guys. The market is really trying to fake everybody out right now, okay? If you guys look right here, you guys can see that we came down to our 618. And now we created a higher low. Now, remember, guys, yesterday I said on the live, I don't know where that parallel channel is. I didn't know where the parallel channel was, right? But then I just took a minute, went over my TA, and I said, okay, well, we're going to bounce off this RSI eventually. So was it here? Was it here? Nope, it looks like it was here. And we have a clear breakout on the RSI, okay? So I am longing. I'm staying in my long. But pretty much now, if Bitcoin ends up breaking this support, which is going to be 69,000 pretty much, 68.9 in that region, then we are absolutely going to drop. And then you can expect Bitcoin having a massive fake out and probably dropping all the way down to 65K at that point. So the RSI is going to be very, very important, guys. The reason the RSI is going to be very, very important is because this is your bounce right here. So now we know the support. Now we know Bitcoin's going to range in this area for a bit, or at least now we know that it is major support, right? And now you can see Bitcoin taking out the Tokyo. So if we look at this little pump right here, we had a pump all the way up until 70,000, 71,000, right? And you can see right here, we took out Tokyo's high, way above Tokyo's high. So we took out Tokyo's high right here. And now we're kind of ranging at Tokyo's high, okay? So now we have new support at Tokyo's high. All right? Kind of. That is kind of what we're looking for. New support on Tokyo's high with this order block and taking it out, taking out the low. So London took out the low and New York took out the high. But now the question is, are we going to drop or are we going to pump? Well, if you actually look at the 4-hour time frame, guys, and I'm not saying I have the market figured out, because the market is going to do what the market is going to do. But I have had some time to really settle in and look at the market. Typically, after you manipulate, you're going to distribute, right? Now, if I look at my 18-hour time frame, what is my 18-hour doing? My 18-hour is going straight up. So I know for the next 3 hours and 42 minutes, I know we are potentially going up. We're on an uptrend, right? My daily is going straight up, okay? And my daily broke out in a huge rounded bottom. Now, if I follow this daily right here, and I look at my RSI right here, okay? What is it doing? It is a huge rounded bottom. If you line up the chart with the daily, what is it doing? It is a huge rounded bottom, okay? So I know that we have a rounded bottom on the daily. And then if I look at my 3-day, I don't like how the 3-day is completely overbought. But now if we look at the 5-minute, we can see we're bouncing off of that Tokyo high, all right? So my target on Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin long that we're looking at, is about 73,005 at this current moment. All right, 73,005 is what I would be looking for in the market, guys. And maybe I would be looking at a short at 73,005. I'm not sure, because at that point we break out. That means we're going to pump. We could honestly pump to 84K at that point, but I want to follow the channel. And the channel is going to play out very, very well. You can see this channel playing out. Everyone, including myself, thought that this channel was broken right here. Rodney, how you doing? The way I like my women, big rounded bottom. There you go. When is prop firm trading? Not sure. We'll do a date. So we're going to do a free funded account training for everybody, guys. I'm going to get some. So the problem with the funded accounts I have at the moment are the rules are so disguised. So at the end of the live, I'm going to get some funded accounts from you guys to check out, okay? Because I've blown a couple accounts just off of the rules being in the fact sheet, and they're not. Like, for example, on a lot of funded accounts, there's a rule where if you lose more than XYZ amount, you're going to get overdrawn. You're pretty much going to be over your drawn limit. So for example, if you lose $1,500, you're going to be cut. Your funded account is going to be lost. But a lot of funded accounts have rules where if you lose, if you're in the negative 1,500, I'm not talking about losing, in negative 1,500. If it goes to that price and you haven't even for all your trades and you haven't even looked, you haven't even took a loss, you're going to lose. So for example, if I'm down on Bitcoin 500 and I'm in another trade and I'm down, 1,000, but I haven't took the loss, it is just ranging, the funded account gets shut down. So now what I need to do before I do this funded account training is I need to understand every single rule in the fact sheet. And I'll be honest with you guys, funded accounts is a lot of trial and error. Some funded accounts, you can't even lose $1,000 or hit $1,000. So that means if your account goes to $1,000, not even a loss, just up and down, you're in a loss because it's called your risk. Okay. So have I looked into Bitfunded? Yes. We'll look over more funded accounts at the end of the live, guys, but it doesn't matter how good of a trader I am. If I'm on the exchange, I'm okay being down $700 as long as I know my stop loss. Some funded accounts, you can't do that, right? All right, guys. So we are settling in for that Tokyo bounce right here off of the Tokyo support. It is showing bearish dive, but we did break out, and you can see right here we did bounce off of the 1 hour. Okay. So again, this 4 hour here is going up for another 1 hour and 37 minutes, kind of. And we have our 4 hour 200 EMA at the moment. I pointed this out on the London live previously, but you guys can see right here, we have our 200 EMA. We have a massive cross coming up on our 200. Our 100 is about to cross as well. And I believe the last time our 100 EMA crossed was down here at around 85K. Okay. So we're getting very, and I mean very, very close to a move. Now you look at your EMAs lining up here, guys. All right. And then you back in about April of 2025 when Bitcoin pumped. Now, I know I'm the one that said Bitcoin can go to 48K, but the reality is the downtrend, the actual downtrend here is about 82 to 83. Okay. So even like the daily, which, yeah. So let's throw our bull market support band up here. And let's look at the 4 hours. So it is a big ways until the bull market support band is flipped. But yeah, no, there's a big ways. We're not necessarily bullish. Like the bull market support band on the 4 hour, you have to flip that. You absolutely have to flip that. Like here back in April 2025, you flipped it. So you do got a bit of more ways to go. But even if you look at the Bollinger Bands, right? So even if you guys look at the Bollinger Bands right here, the bands are tightening, okay? Here the bands were dropping, and we were very, very overbought. Here the bands are tightening, and we are starting to move up. Here the bands are wide, but again, you can pump wide. And just looking at a few scenarios here, you know, the bands are wide on the daily too. Right? So what we're essentially doing is we're just ranging at this resistance. What level to get back into a Bitcoin long? So I would be getting into a Bitcoin long anywhere in this bounce off the channel. Where I would be getting out of this Bitcoin long is if it broke this previous low. And honestly, we might not even pump, right? We might fake out. You're kind of just going off of the market at the moment. You are coming down a bit here. You are dropping a bit. But the reality is you did create an uptrend here. And you did bounce off of this low right here. So remember when we do lives, guys, for the New York sessions, and it looks like we're about to drop. And then all of a sudden on the live, we just have this big, crazy pump. Well, that's what looks like it is about to happen. You know, we're going to potentially drop. And then it looks like we're about to drop for sure. But now your 2 hours coming up. Your 4 hours dropping a bit. And again, this 4 hour needs to flatten out before we continue back up. But I feel like New York is trying to fake every single person out right now. I'm talking everybody. Go long, go short, go long, go short. I am long, which is kind of crazy because normally I'm short, even though we're at resistance, which is even crazier. But I can see that 5 minute completely oversold now. Right? Justin Verse, how you doing? Heard profit traders less rules. Okay. Even though something says they have less rules, guys, I'm telling you right now, they might not be in the rules, but it is in the facts. So if you guys are into funded accounts, you got to look at the facts. The fact sheet. I talked to one of the prop firms and they said, well, the rules is in the fact. And I'm like, what? It's not in the rules. Oh, check the facts. It's there. So that is how they get around putting stuff in the rules. And I'm not about to, you know, get you guys as accounts liquidated. So you got to give me a bit of time on the funded accounts. How I trade, I cannot trade on funded accounts. I just realized that. So now I'm changing my trading strategy. There might be some prop firms where they don't have this, they don't have that. But the reality is that you're probably going to get wrecked if you check the fact sheet. If you don't check the fact sheet, right? All right, guys. So who is long and short? Good morning. And who is long and short in the market, guys, at the present moment? I know we're kind of going against the grain. Normally, I tell you guys to short the resistance. And this is normally what I would be doing. Normally, I would be shorting this. But I had to take a bigger look at the market last night. And I'll be honest with you guys, I did not think we were going to drop to 68.8. The stop loss was 68.5, so people should be still in the long. I did not think we were going to drop there. But whatever the bounce was here on the RSI, that's what we're going for, right? So slack, long, let's go. N in a short on Solana. So I'm not sure how Sol is going to flare or fare, but I would be very cautious on your 88 short because we actually just bounced on Solana, or actually, no, we didn't. Hold on. Never mind. We did not bounce on Solana. We broke the trend. However, now there needs to be a new uptrend. I'd be very cautious shorting right now. I can see Solana pushing back up to 90. See, here's the thing, guys. Sol broke out. So, again, you want to line up your patterns on the higher time frames. If you're very confused in the market, like a lot of people are right now, line up your patterns, right? You have a beautiful rounded bottom, right? Rounded bottoms pay the bills. Rounded bottoms put the girls in, you know, Versace, right? That's where the money is made. But again, line it up, right? We broke out. We back tested the breakout. And now you have a huge rounded bottom forming. Even though we are bearish on the longer term time frames, the reality is right now we cannot ignore these breakouts. If we were going to drop, we would have dropped already. All right. So be very cautious on your Solana short. Okay, TRX long. Let's look at TRX. Yeah, so TRX broke and faked out. Wow. Which means that it didn't actually break. No, it definitely broke. TRX definitely broke to the downside, but now it is faking out a bit. So the top on TRX should be right here, about 29.1. $29.1 should be the top on TRX. If we're looking at TRX, yeah, 29 to 29.1. However, though, this could go a lot higher. We do have a golden cross approaching on the 800 SMA. Olga, good morning. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, TRX is actually about to flip the bull market support band here. So Slack, this was a really good setup here. If we get back above this bull market support band, we haven't been above it since January. There's my EMA ribbon. Right? So you can see that this 800 SMA is about to flip. TRX is looking very, and I mean very, very bullish. You pretty much, yeah. Rounded bottom, yeah, it's not looking too bad. Of course, that would be the top in the shorter term, but if it breaks that, it'll pump. All right, River. Okay, guys. So River. Yeah, Bitcoin's just ranging at that resistance, guys. Ranging. So this would be your new area. It kind of did break out. At the bottom of the channel here. Now, if we look at River, bit of a cup and handle here. There's a lot of range in River in this area. I would say that River could pump to about $21-ish. If it breaks out, but there are a lot of sells right here. River's a tough one. We're really just looking at the range, right? River is a tough one. It did back test this area right here. So let's say it did break out, which it technically did. You could potentially pump up to about $36. All right. Let's look at Bitcoin again. We're ranging, guys. We are absolutely at that top of resistance. Literally right there. Still oversold on the 5-minute. Okay, keep that in mind. Very oversold in the 5-minute. All right. Winning Wave, how you doing? Nice seeing you on here. Rodney, you're having a look at the OCGN stock. Yeah, she's pumping right now. Let's give you a little bit of a take profit. This is on a nice little uptrend right here. So if I'm looking at OCGN, I'd be looking at about 282-ish in that area right there. Yeah, 282 to about 284. We like looking at stocks on the live too, guys. Even possibly $3. If I'm looking at, yeah, anywhere around $283. But I could really see this OCGN trade pumping to about $10. If we're talking how high, Sui's pumping right now. We were looking at Sui the other day, guys, and yeah, there we go. So Sui's breaking out, about to break out of this channel right here. So got 20 option calls at $2, just rated as $10. There we go. I love options. A lot of people who trade in crypto wouldn't get it, but nice seeing you that you are getting it, right? So yeah, guys, Sui is just a rocket ship. Honestly, guys, I'm going to say it right now. We're bullish for the short term. I don't see any scenario where we're bearish. And then I say that, right? But I don't. There's too many MAs about to cross. I don't know if I'd, I don't know if I'd be, dialing up on buying spot trades right now, but I will say that Sui could pretty much pump up to about $1.60. We are ranging, but this is getting very, very ready to boom. 4-hour 200 SMA right here. Bull market support band isn't flipped yet. Again, we've got a long ways to we're fully bullish. But we are looking decently bullish, at least to the resistance of about 84, possibly. Shorter, longer term. But at least this one is looking really good. So right, so you had this nice little rounded bottom on Sui here, about 94. It actually hit my take profit. You're looking at around $1. It breaks $1. This is going to pump pretty hard. And actually, if you look at the 1-hour time frame, we're about to have our 800 SMA cross, which is also very bullish, guys. And the reason this is bullish is because you've been below it since January 19th. You've been above it here. Now you're about to crack it right here. Bitcoin is literally teasing everyone. Like literally teasing everyone, guys. Can you check on Pin's stock? Orlando, no problem. Pinterest. Okay. So Pinterest hit resistance right here. But it is very, very oversold in the 4-hour. It is looking like it is about to break trend right here. Right, so it does look like we are about to break trend on Pinterest. We are breaking, but we haven't actually broke yet. 18 hours very, very overbought. Daily is very, very overbought. So I would say we range in this area right here. But there's key. There's key resistance here on Pinterest. Moment of truth, guys, here for the market. Here's the top of my channel. Okay, 73.5. Let's take a look at gold. Or actually Flux. We'll look at Flux first here and then gold. I at least want to finish this 1 hour. I'm not going to get to the 4 hour guys because that's going to be a 2 hour live and I do got the rest of the day. But I at least want to finish this 4 hour time frame. 4 hour candle. I mean, not 4 hour candle, 1 hour candle because of the time change. Keeps on messing me up. So Flux is looking decently good. We are still above this trend line. So I would be longing Flux right here. Maybe, possibly. At least to about 6.3 on a scalp. But ultimately, Flux would have to break it would have to break 6.4. Flux is really just in a range. We are still holding that uptrend though. Holy man, Bitcoin is just no chill right now. No chill on Bitcoin. We pushed up to that 70,009 again, and it just isn't breaking. We're trying to break. Again, until this 1 hour breaks, I am not convinced we are going to drop. That is a very, very strong trend, guys, on the 1 hour time frame. Super strong of a trend, right? And you broke this key resistance right here, and you're moving right up on the 1 hour. So four hours also moving up for another hour here too. And you're curved on your K and D. Let's take a look at gold. Gold did break out, but gold is dropping. So essentially, I would wait for gold to, I don't know, gold is pretty flat right now. Not really doing anything. Gold is pretty flat. Yeah, gold is just boring right now. I probably wouldn't trade gold until it hits the top here. Or breaks to the downside. Because at this moment, I don't think I would short gold. It does look like gold is trying to continue this uptrend here, but it's really just flat. A lot of ranging on gold. I do want to look at Dogecoin, guys, because it does run. When the market runs, Dogecoin absolutely takes off. So same thing here. You can kind of see it bouncing off that conversion line. I would say about right there. And you can see that Dogecoin, every time it's in a rounded bottom, guys, it ends up pumping like crazy, okay? Huge rounded bottom, huge rounded bottom. Dogecoin is very, very consistent with the rounded bottoms. But yeah, you can see right here, we're probably going to get another move to about 10 on Dogecoin. The short will be monumental too, because when it drops, it does drop. Mr. Nonaleon, how you doing? Can I look at SUI for sure? Let's go take a look at SUI here. If you guys haven't, please hit that like button, guys, for the New York session. If you like me doing setups on the New York session. So again, SUI would have to break at least this resistance right here. It's got too much resistance at this point. And I would say SUI would have to break this. Once it breaks this, you're looking at a really big pump. Massive pump, right? That's all I really would be focusing on SUI at the current moment. Like even right here. So you would really have to break that $1. There are a lot of buys here, which is holding SUI up at the moment. But after you break this area right here, guys, at about $1, you're looking at about $1.14. $1.14 is what I'd be looking at on SUI. And again, you've got this huge rounded bottom. This SUI is going to take off and rip for sure. Or it looks that way, right? Of course, there will be resistance at about $1.12. Okay, so Bitcoin is doing Bitcoin things, obviously, right? 6 minutes left on this hour candle. 4 hour hasn't broken out yet. 4 hours still dropping. 5 minute is rejecting at this resistance. It's a possibility we come down. Definitely a possibility, but I am not shorting this until the 1 hour breaks trend. If the 1 hour doesn't break trend, I am not going to short this. You can even pay me to short it. But if the 1 hour starts breaking this trend, well, then that's the problem. Then we're going to have a massive drop. And we will look at the bearish part, guys, because I don't want to just give you guys a bullish part. The reality is normally you would be shorting this, okay? Because this is that key resistance. But the fact is we didn't drop here. We didn't drop here. Well, we dropped here, sorry. We didn't drop here. And we broke out of this downtrend. So we could range a bit more, maybe in this area from 69,009 to about this. And then I would say we're going to have a massive explosion. Because if you do look at this 4 hour uptrend or the 4 hour bounce right here, sure, that is your channel, but you also have another channel right here, okay? that would be your new channel. So if you break out of here, you could potentially pump up to $76,000. And where would that line up on my chart? That would line up right here. So this would be a very, very big area I'd be targeting, is 75 to 76 after you break this area. And obviously this area is 73. 3-day death cross happened a couple of days ago, so can be prepared for one big giant drop at any time. So actually, if you're looking at the 3-day death cross, I get that, right? So here's, okay, so if we look at the 200, what color? 50. Yellow and orange. Okay. So, yeah. So here's the thing with the death cross, guys. After the death cross happens, there's normally a recovery. Okay. The death cross is actually a lagging indicator. So this drop right here was because of the death cross. The death cross, once it crosses, it normally recovers. So I wouldn't be too cautious about the death cross because it is a lagging indicator. That drop was pretty much lining up for the death cross. Now, I'm not saying we can't drop any time. We're in a bear market. But the reality is that we never hit the top of this daily uptrend here. And that would be about 82, 83K, roughly. But we could just range. We could just range in this area right here, guys, right? Range, and then breakout at some point. We might even range for the rest of New York, maybe. We are dropping. We are hitting resistance, but again, I'm not convinced. All right, guys. So we are going to end the live session there. 1 hour left, or 1 minute left. Again, set your stop losses and profit at this point. Protect your capital. But until, non-financial advice, of course, but until, guys, we break this uptrend now, I would say you're safe to hold a Bitcoin long. My target is around 73. But if for whatever reason New York starts dumping it and we break that RSI, we will pretty much drop all the way back down to about 64K, which was my initial target. Okay. All right, guys. So I hope everyone has a great day for the New York session there. Again, this is hitting resistance, right? So it's not normally good to hold along. I'm just seeing if we end up holding it. The 1 hour RSI, yeah. The 1 hour RSI. We could honestly just range for a bit. This peak right here is pretty much right here. So that's pretty much what you're going for, right? Which is about 69,000 break. And the reason you're having a tough time breaking it is because it is macro resistance. Now, something you do want to keep in mind here, we are crossing on that 1 hour MACD. And we did cross on the 45, and we did cross on the 30-minute time frame. So they're going to try to fake it out for sure. All right, guys. Hope everyone has a great day for the New York session. Set your stop losses and profit, share your wins, and we'll talk to you guys later.